What's up everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube video. We've got something a little bit different today, and I wanted to kind of just talk you through the story of me building these three companies, which is obviously one of the titles of the video, but also hopefully giving you some tips that you can maybe take into your brands, your goals for the future, and I'm hoping that I can give you some tips that aren't just like specific to the bodybuilding industry or the fitness industry, but I kind of just want to talk about the come up and how I went from unemployed, living at home with my mum with asking money for every single day, to being able to take my mum on holiday now and being able to live fairly comfortably and, you know, to know where my end vision is lying. So without further ado, let's get into this business. So when I consider my streams of revenue at the moment, there's a few. I say there's main 3 points. We have the coaching business. I have myself as a persona or a sponsored personnel, whatever you want to call it, an athlete, and then I have Wanamar, the business. So there's 3 main streams with multiple streams that go into those, and I'm just going to talk through each of one of those things and how it kind of came to be, how it came into fruition. So I very much started this journey wanting to be a social media person. Like I wanted to be a YouTuber, I wanted to be an Instagrammer, whatever that meant. I didn't know how those guys earned money. I just knew that they all had really good money. That was just the goal. Like that was the goal. Watching Guzman, I wanted to be that guy. There wasn't necessarily like, I want to be Mr. Olympia at the start. It was very much like, I'm going to start tracking what I do on social media and just see if I can grow a page out of it. Over the years, you know, I eventually grew, you know, to maybe 5,000-6,000 people, and I started to showcase what I could do personally with my physique, and obviously Instagram became much more of a platform to show off what you can do. And just through that, indirectly, people started asking, can you do that for me? Can you help me? And that's kind of where I don't think at that time like online coaching was really a thing. Like, and if it was very few people doing it. So I wouldn't say it's a light bulb moment, but there was a moment in my head when I said, oh, there's a way that I can make a bit of money and actually not have to ask my mum for any more money. So I started coaching people, and I started coaching people for like £50 a month, which is crazy considering like you talk to people as much as they need to throughout every single day of the week, 7 days a week for 50 quid. Like you talk to them every single day, you're paying them like £1.20 a day. Less than that, it's absolutely nothing. So I started really, really low. I started to showcase what I could do for other people. I started to showcase what I could do for myself. And naturally, this just grew into more people wanting to be coached. I think probably I was a little bit lucky that I was one of the first few coaches. I'm sure there was quite a few, but I was one of the first who had a mild following, maybe like 7,000-8,000 on Instagram, and actively said, I'm going to coach people. And obviously over the years, that's grown and grown and grown to the point now where, you know, I don't take on clients very often, and I have to like periodically take people on because I have a cap at how many I can take to uphold my quality level. So, you know, that in itself is a very, very successful business. And I'm not here to put numbers to things. I don't want to just put that stuff out there just yet. Maybe in a future video, but for right now, like just know that it's good business, and I get to change people's lives in doing that, which is absolutely epic for me to do. So that business has really kind of grown alongside the trajectory of social media, YouTube, Instagram, with those things kind of going up and up and up. Naturally, more people have eyes on you. Naturally, more people are going to ask if you can help them. I think even more so that when you get yourself into a position of influence, like more people are likely to go with you despite you know, even if you're a shit coach, if you have followers, people are still going to want to come to you just because of that position of influence. So I definitely kind of went into the business with the idea that I didn't just want to be influencing people to be coached by me and to take their money, but I wanted to actually give them a really good source of coaching and a form of education. And I think that through that, my kind of persona online was sort of developed, because I realized that I loved the education side of things, and I loved how to teach people, and I loved taking complicated information and making it as bite-sized as possible. And I think that's where the come up of my persona came, and I think that's where I kind of found my footing in the industry. And when we shift from the coaching business, that's kind of how I built that. That kind of was very, very natural. There was no forcing. And I was, you know, somewhat lucky in the fact that as my trajectory with social media went up, so did my coaching applications. But like I said, when I found that kind of persona within the fitness industry and found where I slot in, I found there was a lot of people talking some very, very high sense, some very good stuff, but maybe a little bit complicated for a lot of people. So I kind of found myself as the middleman to grab hold of that information and feed that back through into the community. And I think that's kind of where I found my niche, with simple information, like I said, complicated information into bite-sized chunks that people can understand from all walks of life. And I think that's where I kind of excel online. So we develop that persona, and obviously as you develop a persona, as you develop a brand, the vision becomes a lot clearer, and you know what content you're gonna make. So that kind of helped the growth of YouTube and whatnot in itself, but no more than being consistent did. And I think that's the most important thing that anyone should take from any of this, is it was just the consistency. Like, I showed up every single day, and now, like, I am still a small speck on the ladder, but you know, with 52,000 YouTube subscribers now, with 58,000, maybe 58,500 people on Instagram, like a combined audience of over 100,000 people. That's a lot of people, which blows my mind to this day. But with that, with those eyes on you, become opportunities, and the opportunities open for you. Naturally, companies want to get involved with people like me, and this is where the second business comes in of me as an athlete. And people started sponsoring me for what I was talking about, and people would pay me to feature in my videos to know what I was talking about. And obviously this stuff started off slow. A lot of it at the beginning was, and a lot of you guys may be watching this who are kind of getting into this game, you get sent something for free, you talk about it, it's a win-win for both people. You know, maybe someone goes and buys it for them. But the most important piece of advice is, when you do start working with people, make sure it's on brand, make sure it's something that you would buy anyway, personally, and it's something that you go, that's pretty cool, like I would probably use that. Because as soon as you start selling things that potentially you don't have a wholehearted interest in, for me at least, it's super obvious. And you can see when you've got, you know, no disrespect, but some like meathead bodybuilder trying to sell you some DNA ancestry, you know, DNA test, and you're a bit like, do you even understand any of that? Like, do you understand are you going to change anything according to that? So stick on brand, stick with things that you're going to want to buy. Like, you guys have seen the people that I work with, Manscaped. I used Manscaped for years. The Ridge wallet, which was in the last one, or one of my last videos, you know, I've used that Ridge wallet for years, and I've only ever tried to associate myself with companies that I use a lot. And actually, I've had companies on board, you know, have paid me maybe £300 to £400 a month, which of course, if you have a few of those, it makes a good living as an athlete, as a persona. But I've not got on with them anymore, and I've not used their products anymore. You know, for example, CBD was something that I was really big into, and I kind of just stopped using it, and I kind of fell out of love with it, and I didn't see as many benefits as I used to, and perhaps I kind of got a bit more educated on the area. I still think there's many things, but actually I was working with a company and I thought, I don't need to work with you anymore, because I don't have that same affiliation for the brand and for the product. And I think it's very important to remain transparent throughout your journey of like, no, I really like this product, you should definitely buy it, or yeah, I kind of use this product, but you know, only use it if it's a luxury to you, for example, right? And that's a big thing with the supplements, which is why you guys might not see me on here pushing supplements as much, because I don't think that supplements are necessary, but if you have the budget for them and you can afford them and they fit into your lifestyle fine, go ahead and get them, which is why I don't like to push them. I just like to present them, and you guys can make your own choices. But more on that persona, obviously, we now have like some pretty full-time sponsorships. So we have Insight Supplements, the supplement company, which I will get a revenue from based off a percentage of the code. So however much I earn that month off using my code, I will get a percent of that, you know, plus a bit of like a baseline salary. We have Medichecks, which is a blood work company, which I do, you know, 3 to 4, 5 times a year, and just like Insight, I would earn a commission off that. And then we have like the one-off posts, which kind of become a thing as you have an audience worth having. You kind of get people that will pop in every now and again for a one-off, and they'll say, look, we'll pay you, you know, just as an example, maybe £300 to £400, and we want you to put our product on your video 2 or 3 times over the next month or something. So you'd put in a little segment of their product, they'd give you money, and that transaction would be complete. And I think upholding those same principles, only do it for companies that you're gonna use, do it for companies that you're excited to work for, and even do it for companies that you think that there might be a future with. And I think that's something that comes naturally along with followers. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of becoming ambassadors, becoming part of other companies, and you have to still pay for the products. And I think a lot of people fall into the old BPI trick where they had 5,000-6,000 ambassadors, and the ambassadors got like a 65-70% discount code on all their products. So of course you think, oh, I've got this exclusive discount code, I'm getting 70% off products. And yeah, you are, but you're still paying for products. You're still paying money into their revenue, and they're probably still making profit off it. So I don't like those types of relationships. And if you are someone who just doesn't have the audience to give those companies, I would just stay away from it. And I think you're going to hold a lot more value in your company, in your business, in your persona, in your athlete status from staying away from those companies versus just saying yes because it's new, it's fresh, oh my God, they want to sponsor you. A true sponsorship, a true partnership for those guys who are perhaps coming up in the game, in my opinion, is when they give you something completely free or they're paying you for something that you really want and you hold value in that product, and then you get to share that value with your customers. There's no need for you to get, there's no need for you to pick something completely off-brand. For example, a lot of the time, I'll get companies who message me for maybe something to do with computers or something to do with gaming, and which is great because I do like gaming, but my audience is not gaming. There's no need for me to go and say why you should go buy this new game if that's just completely out of random and it doesn't make sense, it doesn't fit with the brand. So you guys have to try and stay on brand as much as you can as you come up through the game. So that's the second business there, which of course, both of those, the coaching and the online persona, kind of coincide as people invest into the way that people invest into the online personal persona is either through the coaching, through supporting the product, supporting the sponsorships, or coming into the third business, which is Wanamar. As I came up, as I started becoming someone, it's so strange to say, as I started becoming someone who people listen to, people look up to, people are influenced by, I quickly realized that perhaps there's an opening there for some merchandise and for just something. I just felt like I needed something that people could support me directly for. And that is where Wanamar was born, sort of. But first it was JBF Brigade, which is the Josh Bridgman Fitness Brigade, which is something that I just coined when I was, a lot younger, a lot naiver, and perhaps didn't understand business as well. We used to do these things called expenditure gang. So I'd go out and I'd expend energy and I'd do questions. And it kind of became a little thing, a little cult, hashtag expenditure gang. So I made some hoodies. I made 50 hoodies, the expenditure gang, sold about 30 of them, had about 20 left. And then sold maybe like 10 more, and I had 10 left. I've still got that 10 somewhere in my garage at home. But I quickly realized that if I was going to be doing a merchandise, if I was going to be building a brand, that I wanted to take myself away from that brand early. Because it's something that I noticed with Christian Guzman is that he was Guzman Fitness, CG Fitness. And he probably grew quite a big business out of CG Fitness. But then you're limited to Christian Guzman. Then you're limited to Josh Bridgman. If I was JBF Brigade, Josh Bridgman Fitness Brigade, I'm limited to how big JBF can be. And I learned that kind of indirectly from watching Guzman go from CG Fitness to Alphalete. So I knew I needed to coin something and be able to build a brand. And fortunately, just throughout my life and the positions that I'd been in, me and a friend had mentioned this Wanamar a few times, and it kind of just rang a little bit, and I kind of started testing the waters by putting it at the end of my captions, and people started picking up on it, and that's when I made the full transition. I made the business, made Wanamar, and I transitioned everything to just Wanamar on the logo. And it very much started off as merchandise. It was very much right. Okay, people want to support me. Let's make a hoodie. Is the hoodie going to be better than everyone else's? Probably not. But if you want to support me over this person, you're going to buy my hoodie. And that's what I've always said. There's no issues copying other people's products. For example, wrist wraps, wrist straps, because there's only so many ways you can invent those. It's hard to make them much better. But if people want to support you over them and you haven't got the product, they're going to go to them, which is still fine. But if you want to be building a business and a brand, then it's good options to have those products that pay. Now, as we grew the business, it stopped being 50 hoodies and it started being 100. And then it stopped being 100 hoodies and it started being 100 hoodies, 100 t-shirts. And then eventually we've got to the point now where we're selling a couple thousand products every single month, which is completely bewildering. But I think largely that came from kind of recognizing, much like how I found my niche in my persona and my athlete status, taking that complicated information and making it bite-sized. In the business, I kind of took that complicated information and I brought it into my products. And, you know, through a lot of my kind of upbringing into bodybuilding, or I should say my learning years in bodybuilding, I learned about biomechanics and I learned about products that improve exercises and little tips, tricks, and little tricks of the trade that you can bring into your exercises that make it better. This is where the cuffs were born. I found a niche in the cuffs and I realized that all the cuffs that I'd ever used were horrible. They were poor material, and I thought, let me just try and make one for myself. And then obviously as I was going through that process, I realized that actually there's a lot of people that are gonna, you know, be benefiting from bringing these better cuffs to the business. So in come the One Arm cuff, which is probably one of, I think it was the first, I think it was literally, okay, it was the second accessory product that we did. We did wrist wraps because it was really easy. You take a blanket model and you just put your logo on it. That's fine. I don't think you could improve a wrist wrap too much than what's out on the market today. So I didn't feel like I needed to. Then the cuff came and it took off like wildfire. And we have sold 6,500 pairs of cuffs as of today. And this is probably maybe 2 years ago when we brought out the first cuff, maybe 18 months ago we brought out the first cuff. And that was when the penny dropped, because that was really, really simple for me to do. I say simple, it took months to do, but like the actual process was simple. You find a manufacturer, they send it to you, you change it, and you keep doing that. And the penny kind of dropped that there was a lot of, there's a lot of areas that we could improve things. Wrist straps, you know, there was no one that was providing daisy chains, carabiners. There's no one who's providing all of that for reverse banding. There's no one who's providing good solid D handles. And you had to go to different companies for all of them. The way that came into my brain was I signed up with Cal, my coach, and he sent me an equipment list of what I needed. And it was a different website, a different website, a different website, a different website. And I thought, why has no one done this? And I did it. And that's essentially what I've done. That niche opened up in front of me, and I took the opportunity to kind of solidify myself in that accessory game and in that area for, you know, improving your exercises with just really, really simple things. So I think now that we're established in that area and people know us and people understand what the One Arm cuffs are, the One Arm straps, the One Arm wraps, One Arm knee sleeves, One Arm elbow sleeves, we've got bands, daisy chains, carabiners, we've got everything that you can imagine that will improve business. And it's kind of just escalated since. And I'm now at that point where I've done all this all myself. A lot of opportunities opened up in front of my eyes. Is that luck? Is that me, you know, identifying that early? Who knows? I'm grateful for the position that I'm in, but feel like I've just fallen into my natural niche, and I feel like I've fallen into my place and where it's going to be in across all three of those businesses. And now we're probably at the point where we're going to start getting on a lot of help, and we really want to start pushing on the brand. And, you know, I think that kind of showing these types of videos and showing the come up, and, you know, just know that the coaching side of things happened over 5, 6, I'm going to say 7 years. I started coaching in 2014. So 7 years down the line, then I managed to make money. You know, I've been doing YouTube since 2012. That's 9 years for 52,000 subscribers. That's not a great ratio, you know, but I've put in the work, and now it's a bit of a business, you know, and now I make money from it. With One Arm and the coining of the brand, like that happened when there was reason to. That happened when there was a reason for people to buy my shit, right? You can't, in my opinion, if you put up a paywall, if you put something for people to buy when you're a little bit lower down the food chain, you can potentially inhibit your ability to grow. And you kind of put up you can't do this unless you buy this, and people just go, fine, like, who are you? You know, and that's the reality of it. But until you build a force behind you, until you can see the impact that you're having, and, you know, and the way that I was seeing it is that my name was popping up on Reddit saying I'm natty or not, and people would just fire on there saying, nah, he is, I followed him for years and years. And that's when I realized that people got my back. People are there to support me because they've understood the brand and they believe in the brand. And now, you know, fortunately, I'm at that point that if you took away 2 of those businesses, the one business would run itself and it would still give me a good living, right? And vice versa. You could take out any one of those, and now it's 3-pronged income. And, you know, I'm sort of living my dream, but it's the start of it. I can feel it's the start of it, and there's so much more to get out of it. So I hope that was clear. I hope that was a lot of clarity. There's a lot of things that I probably missed. If you've got any questions about building these type of things, like, drop a message down below. I'm probably going to do some sit down videos. I'm probably going to do some specific videos about this type of thing and building it as we go, because I appreciate we probably rambled on for about 10 minutes here, but I never thought I'd be sat in this position making these types of videos. These are the videos that I used to watch. I used to watch people talking about their businesses, and I know these guys do well, and you know, I'm extremely fortunate, blessed, and happy to be in that same position. So I hope you guys took a little bit of value of how to build that brand, or build a brand. You know, focus on the content. Focus on the content, focus on being the person that you want to be, and focus on enjoying it. If you can get those three things, I promise you the money will come after that. And we'll leave that there, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.